Hello, parents, and my dear intelligent students. We recently had a look at lesson 3 of multiples and factors, which was about LCM and HCF. And I thought I took all the examples, which were maybe a little more complex for a young student of grade 4. The numbers were a little bigger. So I thought, why not to have small numbers, especially for our juniors? Yes, kids who are in grade 3 and 4 and want to learn about LCN and HCF, or even grade 2, nobody stops them from learning. You can learn from it. So please have a look at lesson 1 and 2 also, of course, to understand the concepts behind multiples and factors, and that will help you to understand LCM and HCF. And in the lesson 1 and 2, we will also understand the definition. Here only we are talking about the technique. So what I told you in the lesson 3, same thing I'm telling in lesson 4, but examples are only for juniors, small numbers, not the big numbers. So when you want to find least common multiple of two number or more than two number, definitely you are trying to find the common multiple between these two number, and the first probable possible answer is the large number. So the technique is, don't look at the small number, because the first multiple of the large number is number itself, and then other multiples are greater or bigger than that number. So the first common possible number is 3 itself. But is 3 a multiple of 2? Of course no, because odd number can never be a multiple of an even number. We have discussed about it in lesson 1 and 2. Now, so 3 is not the answer. Look at the next multiple. Next multiple of 3 is 6. Is 6 a multiple of 2? Of course, yes. So answer is 6. Fast, crystal clear. No need to write the multiples of 2 and 3. When you are in Math Olympiad, directly give the answer. Because writing is only for exams in the school. Yes, in school you are trying to impress the teacher that I know the technique. But here nobody care about the technique in the Olympiads. Nobody care for the technique in Math Jadugar until unless you understand the concept. Because if you know the concept, you will have your own technique to solve the problem. And definitely your technique would be much faster than what we learn in school. So 6 is the answer. Same way here, forget about 3. I don't want to know even the multiple of 3. I just want to have a look at 4, because that is the bigger number. What is the first multiple of 4? Of course 4 itself, but is it possible 4 is a multiple of 3? No, because the first multiple is 3 of 3, but 6, okay, 4 doesn't come in the table of 3. 8, next multiple is 8. Does 8 come in the table of 3? No, of course no. Then the next one is 12. Does 12 come in the table of 3? Yes. So I am doing everything in my mind, and don't say that you don't know the table of 3 and 4, my kids. You know it, you have it in your supercomputer. You can do it very fast if you understand the concept. The lowest common multiple can be equal or more than only bigger number. So just test the multiple of 4s on 3 and you will have your answer. Same way in 5. Is 5 a multiple of 4? No. 10 multiple of 4? No. 15 multiple of 4? No. 20? Yes, looks like. 20 is a multiple of 4. 4 multiplied by 5 is 20. So 20 is the answer. Okay. Now highest common factor, as the name suggests, the factor is opposite of multiple. The technique will also be opposite of LCM. Here we were having the look on the bigger number, greater number. Here we will have a look at a smaller number. Why? Because the first factor or the first highest factor of 6 will be 6 itself. Then other numbers will be smaller. Same for 9. So the first possible, probable, common, highest common factor can be 6 only. Of course it is not, but that is the first probability. So I will see the smaller number. Now let's have a look at 6. Can 6 be a factor of 9? Of course no, because even number cannot be a factor of an odd number. So 6 is not the answer. Let's have a look at next factor, which is 3. And don't worry about how to do these factors and multiples in your mind. These are covered in lesson 1 and 2 and you can learn about it. So the factor, next factor or the lower factor is 3, and is 3 a factor of 9? Yes, so 3 is the answer. Same way in 7 and 16. Have a look at 7. 7 is a prime number, so question become very easy. Is 7 a factor of 16? Of course not, because 7 multiplied by 2 is 14 and 7 multiplied by 3 is 21. So 16 is not a multiple of 7 and 7 is not a factor of 16. Both things are same. If you know the concept, you will understand what I am saying. So 7 is not the answer. It's a prime number. So next factor is 1 only. And 1 is a factor of every number. So 1 is the answer here. Very simple. Now coming at 4 and 10. Ignore the bigger number. See the smaller number. Is 4 a factor of 10? No, right? If not, then let's have a look at next factor. Next factor is 2. Is 2 a factor of 10? Of course, yes. So answer is 2. Very fast, crystal and clear. No need to write factors and multiples of all the numbers in the question. Just have a look at the bigger number when you're talking about LCM and have a look at the smaller number when you're talking about HCF. The technique is very simple. The way is very simple. Only thing is, can you do the fast calculation? Do you understand the concept? If you know these two things, you will be the human calculator and you can solve every question on this planet Earth. Thank you very much.